Hi there, I'm Peter Alsop. Welcome to my Songs to Chew podcast. This week my song is for adults and teens. It's from my Disciples of Perfection album. It's called Pick One. I got the idea for this song from my grown daughter Megan, who has always impressed me with her clear thinking and balanced way of seeing the world. I remember once we were taking a walk with her dog through the hills in Topanga where we live, and she said, "Dad, do you remember about 2 weeks ago when my friend Carla was over at our house and you brought up the trouble she was having in her relationship with Gordon?" I said, "Yeah, I think I remember that. Why?" She said, "Do you remember that when I told you about that, I said it was private and I asked you not to say anything about it?" "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. I totally blew that, didn't I?" "Yeah," she said. "I want to be able to confide in you about stuff like that, but I can't if you don't remember when I tell you something is private." "I'm really sorry, Megs. Of course I want you to confide in me. I'll do my best not to do that again." We walked silently for a bit. Then I said, "You know, when I was growing up in my family, if some thought came into our mind, it would immediately come out of our mouth, particularly if it was emotionally loaded. You must have been really embarrassed and hurt and pissed at me when I did that. You didn't confront me right then and there. I have no idea where you learned that skill. You actually waited for 2 weeks to say something to me about this when we weren't right in the middle of the situation where it happened, and then you brought it up in such a way that I could hear what you had to say without becoming defensive. I don't think you learned that from me. I've still got work to do in that department." She smiled and said, "It's okay, Dad. Just don't let it happen again." "You're amazing. What are your rates? Do you take insurance? Do you have any openings on Thursday?" We laughed. I tell this story because I was struggling with how to address all the upsetting events going on in our country. Sometimes I feel useless and unsure about how to use my time more effectively to leave the world a better place for our kids and grandkids. We need clean air and water, more caring policies about housing, minimum wages, health care, racism, corruption, honesty, and on and on and on. "Megs," I said, "how do you cope with all this stuff? You're so balanced. I get overwhelmed trying to figure out what to work on first when everything seems so important. I know your favorite cause is animal rights. How do you keep from going crazy with all the other stuff that needs attention?" "Dad," she said, "remember that movie City Slickers with Billy Crystal and Jack Palance? He played Curly." "Yeah." "It was what Curly said, the secret of life. Just pick one thing. Pick one." Says I. "That sounds like a song."
It's raining out today and I'm stuck inside. Got the TV channel changer but I can't decide. All the great programs on TV. Flipping through the channels, then Mom says to me, she says, pick one, you're making me crazy. Pick one, your eyes are getting hazy. Pick one channel, try it for a while. You can always pick another if it's not your style, but just pick one. Well, I couldn't stand the blabbing, so I went for a walk down to the library. No one there can talk. Books by the thousand, which one to read? Then the librarian whispered to me, she said, pick one, you make yourself crazy. Pick one, your eyes are getting hazy. Pick one book, try it for a while. You can always pick another if it's not your style, but just pick one. I looked down at my shoes, I couldn't seem to choose. So I went home, turned the radio on. There was talk about war and the nuclear bomb. Offshore drilling, sex abuse and killing, polluting the environment, and ineffective government, oil barons, cancer, and lots of drugs, healthcare, welfare, and Wall Street thugs, financial collapse, crowded schools and population, terrorism, vigilantes, immigration. I want to save the world before it's blown away. I was overwhelmed, then I heard myself say, pick one, you make yourself crazy. Pick one, your eyes are getting hazy. Pick one cause, try it for a while. You can always pick another if it's not your style, but just pick one. Pick one, maybe not the best. Pick one, or you're gonna get depressed. Sitting in your stall doing nothing at all. So pick one, this is not a test. pick one, make it work for you. Pick one, there's lots that we can do. Try to think small, cause you can't do it all. To get a lot done, you gotta start with one. So just pick one. Pick one.
So I still chew on the ideas in my Pick One song. I think it's helpful to pick one thing when I'm really stuck about how to proceed. And I found that it's also possible to still keep my interest and awareness about the rest of the big picture. Sure, it's easy to get depressed and fearful when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. That kind of depression and fear saps all our energy. It makes it hard for us to do anything because it seems like nothing we do can fix that whole big picture. But do we really have to fix the whole thing? I don't think so. I think growing up in our society trains us to look for simple answers. If we're sick, we take a pill. If we watch a complicated story on television, no worries, it all gets resolved in 27 minutes. If we take a test, it's a given that every question has a right answer, but real life is not that simple. I know lots of very smart people that are unhappy even though they have resources and tons of information. They're frustrated because they can't resolve everything into a neat package. But if we're smart and wise, then we can hold two conflicting ideas in our head at the same time. They may not get resolved, but if we're wise, we understand that we don't have to force a resolution just because we're uncomfortable. We don't have to ignore them or avoid them, but just hold those ideas and wait for something to percolate that will help with the resolution. Remember how my daughter Megan waited 2 entire weeks until she felt it was the right time to bring up her concern with me? That's being smart and wise. She knew that if she waited, an opportunity would arise where we could resolve the issue. But she didn't avoid talking to me. She gave herself a chance to pick the best time to act. I had a cousin named Susie who turned 35 recently. I said, "Hey, Susie, how's it feel to be 35? "Okay," she said, "I guess." "You guess?" I asked her. "Well, I always wanted to be a veterinarian." "So your kids are in school now," I said. "Why don't you take some classes? You could still be a veterinarian." "Nah," she said, "it would take me 15 years to become a veterinarian at that rate. Geez, I'd be 50 years old by then." I just looked at her and said, "Well, in 15 years, you're going to be 50 years old anyway. Wouldn't it be nice if you were a veterinarian?" We stop ourselves when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So rather than stopping ourselves or giving up, let's just look at our choices. And as the song says, pick one and try it for a while. We can still pay attention to the other causes that need our attention without making ourselves crazy, and maybe pick another path if the first thing we pick doesn't work so well. That's it for today. Next week, we'll kick off Chapter 1 from my What Do You Want to Do album for kids and families. It's been called the Sgt. Pepper of children's albums. It won all sorts of awards when it came out. The I Am a Pizza song is on it, and My Body's Nobody's Body But Mine, which is a song that has saved some kids' lives, really. I'm proud of that. If you want to see some videos of those songs, go to YouTube and search for Peter Alsop. So, thanks so much for stopping in. Please let friends and family know about my Songs to Chew podcast, free music and parenting ideas for our kids and for ourselves. And you can find all my songs, lyrics, songbooks, and DVDs at my website, peteralsop.com. See you next week. Bye for now.